Good evening, you're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The history of Oman dates back to more than 5,000 years BC as a trade center between the ancient civilizations. The Sultanate of Oman's desert is chosen for Mars simulation experiments. New archaeological discoveries dating back to the Iron Age are found at the Mudmar site in a Wilayah of Adam. And a gang of 22 people accused of cyber fraud cases are arrested. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. Signed by His Majesty the Sultan, His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masoud Al-Sinadi, Minister of Commerce and Industry, Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Planning, left the Sultan today for the Swiss Confederation, leading the Sultan's delegation to the 48th meeting of the World Economic Forum, which will start its activities tomorrow in the Swiss town of Davos. The four-day meeting will focus on improving political, economic, and social spheres which have positive influence on global changes. The Omani deep-rooted history dates back to more than 5,000 years BC, where it witnessed a number of civilizational events that contributed in varying the Omani culture. This history has recorded the Omani achievements throughout the ages of human civilization, and at present, Oman derives a privileged status among nations. Here's a report read by Huda Al-Jahwariya.
في هذا العصر الذي تتزايد فيه الأطماع والصراعات علينا أن نكون دائما وأبدا على أهبة الاستعداد واليقظة للذود عن حياض هذا الوطن العزيز والتصدي بعزم وقوة أعظم لكل من تسول له نفسه أن يتعدى على عماننا الحبيبة ومقدساتها وتراثها.
من قبل مالك بن فهم حازت من العليا سهم التالي ما نسمع نداه.
The Omani deep-rooted history dates back to more than 5,000 years BC, where it witnessed a number of civilizational events that contributed in varying the Omani culture. Oman was a trade center between the ancient civilizations in the region, where it was known with a number of different names, such as Majan, which was related to shipbuilding, and copper smelting, according to the Sumerians. It was also known as Mazun, which is derived from Arabic word muzn, that means clouds and flowing water. As for the name Oman, it was mentioned in the early migration of Arab tribes. Oman has thousands of forts, castles and towers with their ancient architecture as they were designed to protect the country, its plains, wadis and mountains. The country also has a great marine history, where the Omanis traveled in long voyages through the sea, and those following the history of Jawharat Muscat ship will get acquainted to a rich source of information about the Omani adventures in the sea. Omanis had an extensive influence from the east to the west of the continent, reaching Africa, where it took Zanzibar as its capital. Oman was an ideal example in its maritime and land tournaments through history. The Omani history is rich with various achievements and intellectual wealth that contributed in building the Arab and human civilizations through a number of scholars and writers in various fields. On the other hand, excavations and field researches in archaeological sites point out that the origins of the country dates back to long periods of the past. The history of Oman in the rich era of the Arab and Gulf region, especially as a result of the civilizations that followed Oman and its legacy, remains a valuable cultural heritage in all its monuments, events and personalities, which contributed to the progress of Oman and the diversity of its cultures and sciences. Finally, the history of Oman narrates the tale of bravery, glory, wisdom, love and devotion for the country, which led to the existence of the modern Sultanate of Oman.
ثنوا لمسقط طالبين والكف للخالق دعاه يا يواب يلي تبع هذا الرسم مسقط تنادي لنعم لو كان في ماضيه ذم نصفح عن الماضي وأساه.
After an international competition, the Sultanate has been selected by the Austrian Space Forum to host a series of experiments in an exercise that simulates a mission to Mars by the end of this month. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Rahmi has more details in the following report.
Mars Analog Field Simulation, a project that the Sultanate is preparing to host, aiming to serve global welfare and common research interests, and to support international efforts in space and scientific explorations.
The main focus will be introducing space science, astronomy, astrophysics to Oman. And above all, we need to have this to ignite the minds of the young generation of Oman, and also to prepare them for the future. I think if we can cover that part, we'll be very happy, and it will also put Oman on the map of education, research, and innovation.
Oman is chosen for the implementation of this project as per a decision made by the Austrian Space Forum. The selection process came after a strict global competition based on a set of criteria and requirements set by the Forum for a successful accomplishment of this mission.
The Sultanate has been selected among the 19 countries, been shortlisted by the Austrian team, and Oman was selected to be the best place or the best geography place for these experiments, experimenting live on Mars planet. And PDO concession, which is next to Marmoul, has been selected to be the best in Oman, that almost 99% similar to the planet, area.
The geological and geographical features of the Sultanate have a very close resemblance to the surface of Mars, which is a basis for achieving the objectives of the simulation. A team from the Austrian Space Forum visited a number of locations around the Sultanate and found out that those locations are similar to the red planet's features.
The Sultanate has been chosen to as one of the most countries a similar environment to the Mars, and therefore the Australians Space Forum has chosen the country, or has chosen Oman, to be one of the best countries to do the simulation or landing simulation in Mars due to the geographical lands, which is similar to Mars lands.
The mission is an inspiration to the youth of Oman, as a group of school students will actively participate in this project by conducting geophysics experiments in search of water in such environmental conditions. Mars simulation experiments to be conducted here in the Sultanate will grant Oman a growing role in the field of space sciences. For the Sultanate of Oman Television English News, صالح بن خلفان الرحبي, مسقط.
For more details about this topic, we have here in the news studio Dr. Saleh bin Zaid Shidani, President of the Oman Astronomical Society. Welcome, Dr. Saleh.
Welcome. Thank you for this invitation.
I'm sure the Sultanate and yourselves are very excited to be chosen as part of this experiment.
Definitely. It is a very new experience for us that we are really looking forward to learn a lot from it.
Could you please brief us about the timeline of this project?
Yeah, actually the timeline, let's say if you go back 15 months ago, we received the government go-ahead with the proposal, and then last March, a delegate from the Austrian Space Forum, they visited about 10 sites in Oman. They selected sample, taken detail and soil. And then after that, in July last year, we have been informed officially that Oman was selected and it won. And then since then, we started to discuss more detail. And in last October, we signed a memorandum of understanding between different parties involved in the project. And now we are looking forward for the 30th of January, where the analog astronaut and the field crew will arrive in the Sultanate. And we're going to have in that evening kind of a media symposium. And the next day, the analog astronaut and the field crew will arrive at the site in Marmoul. And they will have their a big head phase, like for a week, preparing everything for the real experiment to start. And that will now, it was planned 8th of February, but now seems to be some delay in the arrival of the cargo.
So you had about 10 sites being chosen?
Before selected,
selected.
Let's say visited.
Yes, and now the chosen areas are
the one in the Marmoul. In the one in Marmoul.
And who are the contributors of this project?
Actually, we are very delighted to say that we have almost a majority of major bodies, government bodies, and even companies, and many, I guess to name few, we have the PDO, Ministry of Defense, OBC, we have Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have also ODS, We have Sultan Qaboos University, we have Omantel and Oman Fiber. We are very glad we managed to gather quite a good of people who really contributed to the success of this project, and we'd like to express our thanks to them. And there is other one coming online.
What's its space period? How long?
Yeah.
Is it going to take?
Well, the landing day now will be shifted a little bit to the 10th after this delay. So we are looking from the 10th to the 2nd of March. So that will
this
be
year.
Yeah, this year coming in
very soon.
Very soon, in a few weeks' time. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe the last question is there anything you want to add?
Yes, people
the
are.
isolation phase will continue after that? Or?
Yeah, people are wondering why. I mean, how we can simulate the Mars environment. Obviously, this is a simulation, so many aspects of the setting there we try to adjust it in a way to look like Mars. So, like the communication will be delayed by 10 minutes to send from the field to the operation control room in Austria. And there is many other environment, the weight and many things we try to adjust it to look like Mars. We try to see how the people, the astronaut can cope in this environment with this new equipment. We are checking the readiness, or they call the RTL, how far we are ready in terms of equipment, in terms of technology, in terms of procedure, in terms of operation, what's possibly there is a challenge might rise, and then how we can deal with it in the future mission. So it's like, as I say, we are trying to simulate it. We try to explore many features in marble subsurface, and then try to see how that will help us as if we are in Mars. And then presumably when that time comes to people to go to Mars, they have been doing so many simulation and rehearsal, so they will be in a better situation to deal with the real challenge.
And obviously the SQU and others will be benefiting from this while on progress.
Exactly. Actually, there are a number of universities globally. They come up with experiments that have been integrated into this project.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saleh, for your
Thank you
time,
very
and we're all excited to see how this will go, and we wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks. A conference on electric vehicles was held here today in Muscat that highlighted the future of electric cars and witnessed integration of a charging point. More details in the following report by Sultan bin Saif Asrai.
Electric cars will soon roam in the Sultanate Road. Charging points as well are available now in different cities such as Muscat and Sohar. In addition, there are more coming in other sites in Oman.
This can go 0 to 60 in maybe 4.5 seconds. It's the 75 model. The 100 model can go 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds.
Driving this kind of cars looks very quiet and comfy because it has the latest cars technologies as they are considered as smart vehicles.
Within a period of only 2 months, we installed charging stations to make a trip from Abu Dhabi all the way to Muscat, passing through Sohar, passing through Musanna, sorry to say, and we hope to be able to expand it in the near future to allow us to drive a car, electric car, up to Salalah.
As long as the charging points are in service, people can feel more confident to own an electric car. Moreover, the current government perspective is to develop smart cities. This perspective is part of the Sultanate's vision to have a society free of carbon emissions.
This is a very exciting event because this is the first event that brings all the government entities that are related to mobility to brainstorm about how can we start a roadmap where everyone in the community can move towards this future trend. How can we use more cleaner way of moving between point A to point B using new technologies?
These electric vehicles are able to cross around 400 kilometers when they are fully charged. The world is evolving into smart cities, and the Sultanate is about to witness the use of electric cars. Therefore, various charging points will be launched in Oman soon. Sultan bin Saif Asrai, Muscat.
A new set of artifacts comprising of arrowheads and bronze snakes have been discovered at the ecological site of Jabal Mudmar in the Wilaya of Adam. Our reporter Saleh bin Khatfan al-Rahbi found more about the project in the following report.
Another hidden treasure of the Omani civilization has been unearthed, signifying the historical depth of the human settlements on this land. It is a new discovery at the site of Jabal Midmar in the Wilaya of Adam in Ad-Dakhliya Governorate. This time, more than 3,000 arrowheads, together with 5 different forms of a number of bronze snakes, have been found.
The expedition of this year is very short, only 2 weeks expedition, and we already found quite a lot amount of copper objects. This site was dedicated to offerings, since all those snakes and most weapons were not used. So there was offerings to maybe some kind of god, or for ceremonies, including I don't know, a meeting between chiefs, a meeting between important person, or weddings. It's difficult to know because we have no historical text.
Since 2015, a French mission from the Sorbonne University, in collaboration with the Ministry of Heritage and Culture, has been exploring the site to reveal its ancient history. The initial readings of the site and the artifacts indicate that they belong to a history that dates back as far as 2,600 years.
This year we excavated this area of the slope, and we found 3 walls. The first one is very big, it's like 2 meters high. The second one is smaller, 1.5 meters. And between the 2 walls, we found a lot of artifacts, especially metallic arrowheads in bronze. More than 3,000 arrowheads we found in this area this year. We also found some snake figurines in bronze, 20 snakes, and some beads and ceramics to complete this assemblage of archaeological artifacts. So we are very happy for this year. It's a very good excavation, and we are very happy to excavate this site of Jabal Mudmar.
Further future research studies and archaeological excavations will shed more light on the political, social, and economic foundations of the societies that settled in the heart of the Omani Desert, especially that this site is at a strategic crossing of several ancient trade routes adjacent to Wadi Halfin. For the Sultanate of Oman Television English.
Royal Oman Police has arrested a gang comprising of 22 suspects involving electronic fraud cases. The suspects, holding an Asian nationality, were seized having 60 mobile phones and 76 SIM cards to be used in fraud cases. Details of the case started when ROP's Operation Center received a number of reports from citizens with regard to receiving calls and SMS messages from unknown persons telling them that they had won cash prizes from telecommunication companies or from the private banks in the Sultanate. After such an investigation, the Directorate of Investigation in Muscat and Directorate of Crime Combating succeeded in identifying the locations of suspects in the Wilaya of Sib in cooperation with the telecommunication companies. Earlier last year, ROP succeeded in arresting a gang involving in fraud cases in the Wilaya of Barka. Still to come, our news bulletin. The Minister of Sport Affairs signs an agreement for construction of a sports complex in the Wilaya of Ibra. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Sultanate and Kuwait stated that they were moving forward in the project of Duqm refinery, which will be constructed equally between Oman Oil Company and Kuwait Petroleum International. The engineer Bakhit Al-Rashidi, Minister of Oil, Electricity and Water, stated that the work on Duqm refinery is going according to the set plans, adding that work is going to search for partners in case of any additional in the project. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, obtained the Excellence Award for Quality, Safety and Patient-Centered Care 2018, granted by Arab Hospital Federation in recognition of his role in supporting the joint Arab health work. Professor Tawfiq Khoja, Secretary General of Arab Hospitals Federation, and his accompanying delegation handed over the award to His Excellency the Minister of Health when he met him in Muscat. Within the framework of the Ministry of Sports Affairs, requests to expand basic infrastructure of sport facilities in various governorates of the Sultanate, the Minister signed an agreement for construction of sports complex in the Wilaya of Ibra in the Governorate of North Sharqiya. The Ministry stated that the work on this project will start this month and will end in 2020. The agreement was signed by His Excellency Sheikh Saad bin Mohammed Al Marfoud, Minister of Sports Affairs. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we enter tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The history of Oman dates back for more than 5,000 years BC as a trade center between the ancient civilizations. The Sultanate of Oman deserts is chosen for Mars simulation experiments. New archaeological discoveries dating back to the Iron Age are found at Al-Mudmar site in Wilaya of Adam. And a gang of 22 people accused of cyber fraud cases are arrested. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from all of us here in the newsroom and the studios. Thanks for watching. Good night.